Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's that time of the week again. I'm Daniel Rodriguez, and welcome to my Happy Death Day spoiler review. Again, spoilers. If you have not seen Happy Death Day, go see the film first. It's very entertaining. It's really fun. Go check it out. Take your friends out, take your boyfriend, take your girlfriend out. Get a little laugh, get a little scared. Not too scary, but I would say probably it's a little bit it's not on the scare factor, but I genuinely was more attracted to the jump scares of this than it, and I liked it. But if you're talking about a little bit more jumpy, scary, or that made more sense, then I would say this is the better one out of that of jump scares. And even though you could see it coming, yada yada yada, you still feel it and see the reaction of the characters. Either way, a very entertaining film that I thought was going to suck and blow balls, but actually it doesn't. I'm really excited that I ended up seeing this film. So anyway, viewer discretion advised. There will be some foul language in here, so if you are a pussy, then you might as well just walk on home, boy. We're going to be talking about Happy Death Day, breaking it down, talking about what the future could hold for the franchise, if it even becomes a franchise. I mean, the budget was $4.8 million, and this is going to make more than $5 million this weekend. Even if it makes $10 million, it's still going to make some money. Unless it doesn't make money, but I'm pretty sure a bunch of people will see it, and rightfully so. It is a really fun film. It's not Blade Runner, it's not Dunkirk, it's not an Oscar-worthy film, but it's just a fun film. It's stupid, but it knows what it wants to be, and that's what I like about it. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a little comedic, more comedic at times than and maybe that's what ruins the film. Maybe for a few people, I haven't read anybody's comments yet on what they think about the film. Maybe some comedy could really maybe ruin the film for people, but not really. It just adds more fun to the characters. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm the minority, but either way, Happy Death Day. Jessica Rothe, who plays the main character in this film, obviously, Groundhogs Day. It's based on Groundhog's Day. You relive it over and over again. This girl's reliving her death over and over. She wakes up in the morning in this dorm, and then throughout the day, she ends up getting murdered, and then she just has to live it over and over and over again. So basic, simple, not too hard. It's just an hour and 40 minutes, an hour and 32 minutes. It's not that long of a film. It really jumps by real quick, where you feel like you sit there for an hour and then you're out of there. And it's a fun watch. And at the end, again, spoiler territory now. Make sure you've seen the film. At the end of it, when he's like, "You've never seen Groundhog's Day?" And right there, I was like, "You cheeky bastards." The director is Christopher B. Landon, and I don't know if I've seen any of his other films. I don't know if this is his first film, but I was just like, "You cheeky bastard." I knew you had to make a Groundhog's Day reference somehow. Oh my god. And she didn't even know what Groundhog's Day was. Girl, if you wouldn't know what Groundhog's Day was, it may have been a little bit more easier. Probably not either way. But there's some things that I didn't like about the film, and there's a lot more things that I enjoyed about the film. First off, the character that Jessica Rothe plays, don't know her main name. I guess that's probably a bad thing that I don't know her name. I don't remember her name, and they probably said it so many times. Either way, they've said it so many times in the movie, and I don't even remember. But with this, she was such a bitch. She was mean, and she plays it so well. She's just a bitch, and I'm sorry to say it, but she's a slut, and I mean, really, she carried herself like a bitch. And I love that transition of, in any moral story, that's kind of what you do with a Groundhog's Day story, is you learn to be a better self. You learn, you right your wrongs, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to live a better life if I get tomorrow. You don't take today for granted, blah, 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 blah. The usual story, So it's again, easy, very easy. And I really enjoyed how it didn't even take that long to get inside the meat and potatoes. It took maybe 15 minutes at most to get to her, maybe less than 20 minutes before she died. And it reminded me that if they ended up getting like a known star for this film, which I'm glad they didn't, I would feel like Emma Roberts would probably play this character 10 years earlier. Most likely, Emma Roberts would have probably sometime, because I think Megan Fox was attached to play back in 2007. This was probably a whole different film back in the day. But I really felt like Emma Roberts would have been a great pick, but Jessica Rothe, honestly, she really rocked and carried this film. So kudos to her, and hopefully many more films in the future, honestly. Blumhouse Productions is a great production company. So with that, the opening of her, you know, and scene... And it will get repetitive over time to some people. It wasn't repetitive for me, but seeing the same things over and over, and that's kind of the thing. It's repetitive for her, so it's going to be repetitive for you. You're going to go through hell with her. And she starts off as a cunt, and you don't like her. You're like, I can't wait till she dies. And then after she starts changing and going crazy and really thinking, how am I going to do this? You really start to, okay, that she's not... She notices what she's doing wrong, and she's changing, and you start to kind of cling on to that. From what I see it, you start to put yourself in that situation just for a second, and then it starts getting comedy when her and Carter, I mentioned this in the movie review of the fart scene. Like, she burped, like just randomly of a burp, and he's like, wow, that's all you got or something? And then she farted for like 10 seconds of a fart. And I was like, what is this? I looked at my friend Chris and I was like, no, what? But like, in a way, like, I thought this was a thriller film. What is this? Now it's a comedy? It's a comedy now? And it just kept getting more comedic. And it's kind of like two films in one. So I do like the aspect of them kind of keeping that Groundhog's Day comedy sense. Not a copy and paste, but of a comedy aspect, since Groundhog's Day was, you know, comedy. And part of it was comedy, obviously, with Bill Murray. So them keeping that, like, they're adding comedy into it as well. And it's a good mixture. It really was a good blend of seriousness and a little comedy. And you don't take it that real. And one of my problems with the film is the girl that was the person that was doing it, which I think I've seen her in Shameless as Lip's girlfriend in the recent season. I think that's her. She tried to poison the cupcake, and that girl, the one who was a nurse or wore scrubs, how did she do it? Is she a witch? They never explain it. And I'm not saying it ruins the film. Like, I wasn't complaining. Why do they never explain it? Like, I don't need to know, but I would like to know, and I think people would like to know too. Maybe in a Q&A or something, or an interview. But how is she not going to ask, like, how did you do it? How am I reliving the same day over and over and over and over again? They never explain that at all. Unless they explain it like in an end credits or so. I doubt it, but I would like to know, how does she survive? I mean, how does she keep living day after day after day? Is it some paradox they're living in? Some multiverse? I mean, there is no explanation for that. Again, doesn't ruin the film completely where it's like, oh my god, that ruins the whole complete thing. I mean, what do you expect? You walking in to see some documentary or something? This is just supposed to be a fun popcorn thriller. Not many people know it's going to be comedy unless trailers have shown it to be comedy. I think it's probably been marketed as a serious horror-ish film. I wouldn't even call it horror. It's not even genre as horror, but when I see films like this, it's like horror. Oh well, it's one of those, a wannabe horror film. But this ain't what it was. But I'm saying that's how I saw it as before watching the film. And then as well, I guess consequences just don't matter in this universe because she was fighting her roommate, and everybody plays dumb in this universe. I mean, all the characters, most of them are dumb in a sense. Like, these girls are fighting in the room. I mean, they're literally like an earthquake up there, and she's like, what are you biatches doing? Well, you better not be making a lot of noise. And then she just walks away, and it's like, this girl's literally trying to strangle this other girl in the room, and you're seriously not going to eat, like, I mean, I guess she has bad hearing or some shit. Maybe it didn't sound like they were killing each other in there, but hey, they're killing each other in there. and you just walk off. So with that, she kicked her out of the window. This girl just didn't fall. She did not just trip over and fall out of the window. I mean, maybe she explained, hey, she was trying to poison me with a cupcake and all in self-defense. But no, we're not going to see her get interviewed by cops. She's not going to go to jail. She's not going to go to court. They don't show anything. It's just 5 hours later, or not even. She's just later in the day, she's with Carter at a diner. Like, really? So, let me tell you this. So, she ended up dying again, or whenever. She died in her sleep because of the cupcake. She ended up killing the girl, but she never went to the hospital, so that guy ended up breaking out. Wait, does that mean, if the other girl, oh no, so the other girl didn't end up, okay, I got it now in a sense. The guy that was the prisoner that escaped the hospital, she helped him escape, but she never ended up helping him escape because she ended up dying. Okay, I was thinking that's a perfect way to carry on the franchise, is not even for the same girl, but in a sense, and I guess it wouldn't even be a Happy Death Day 2, it would be some other storyline if you think about it. But the guy would end up getting the baby face mask and going and killing around other people. You would just think that could be a continuation of such, I don't know. That weird sound that it made every time it showed the baby face mask, I was like, oh, okay. Stop it. Stop. You're doing it too much. You're being a little bit repetitive. I mean, seriously, you need to stop. Oh, what else are we talking about in this film? I mean, cinematography wasn't bad. It wasn't great because that's what I like about films like this. It's not like supposed to be like Blade Runner, like look at this, look at that, look at that. It's just a simple film. Grab the big camera, action, follow, cut. It's not nothing special of a cinematography. You know, you don't have to dig deep in your eyes and look around. You just follow the main character. You follow the story. It's a breather. So I really, really enjoyed the main actress and Carter. They were brewing up a storm, man. I'm gonna have Carter's babies. I'm just like, you go, girl. You have his babies. You have his babies. I was thinking at the end he was gonna be like a bad guy or something. I really thought he was gonna end up like killing her at the end. And that ending though, when she wakes up and it's like, it's your birthday, bitch, and like he ends up just doing a prank on her. He's just like, I'm kidding. It's the 19th. I literally was like, Jesus Christ, dude. Because I thought it was going to start over all again. And I'm like, okay, I've really enjoyed my time with this film. But the guy in the hospital wasn't the bad guy. And if it's continuing, that means the girl wasn't the bad person. I'm good enough. You don't need to continue. I get the point. Let's just say they're done. And it ends on a happy note. Many horror films nowadays end on a dark note. Whatever happened to the days where we would just end on a good note, and it ended up on a good note? See, you don't always have to end on a... because everybody does that nowadays. You need to switch it back to the good note. And I'm happy that it did. Mind you, at the end it showed the sticker and everything, and I guess maybe that could be like... I don't know. I think they're just showing that to be to the audience, like... this is the first day of the rest of your life, you know, sort of, I don't know, it's symbolicism, metaphorically, whatever we want to say. Now, her affair with the doctor guy, but let's just say that's how comedic it was when she was in the war paint and everything and she was spying on her professor's husband, or excuse me, her professor's wife. She was like spying and she had night vision goggles, and that was so comedic in a sense where it's like, okay, now you just lost me. This was very serious, and now it's just not serious, but I'm still with you because I'm just going along with it, and I want to go along with it. Because it really just, it loses you when it started going really comedic and dumb, and it's just like, okay, okay? You don't want to be serious all the time and be depressed. You want to have a little fun, and this is what it did. It really had that balance again. My God, that cop just got raped, dude. That sheriff, that big sheriff guy, the car just literally, boom, rammed into him, man. That was horrible. I mean, that was a horrible way to die. How do you not hear a car coming, by the way? Maybe you should be like, hey, just for, good sake, maybe you could look around every now and then just to make sure. Oh, look, a bright light car coming this way, and you didn't even notice it. Maybe it came too fast. Maybe it did. It did come too fast. But you don't hear. You don't hear that. You don't. Oh, maybe the. Oh, what is this bright light? Boom! You're dead, motherfucker. You are dead. Very good. That was still so. It's. I like to say that it's so bad that it's good. But when I say it's so bad, it's not like The Room bad. It's just, yeah, at first, little parts like, okay, this acting was a little mediocre there, this was that, but at the end of the day, it's just really genuinely a different good film that I would consider it's good. That's just me personally. Maybe other people could hate it. Maybe other people even love it and think it's a great film. Now, last year was a pretty good year for thriller. Again, I wouldn't say full-on horror, but just because they're marketed as in a sense of a paranormal or horror-ish type of film. But more of a sense, last year, the two big films that hit me really well, but these were original concepts, or really original concepts. This one's a Groundhog Day thing, so it's not that original of a concept. But like Don't Breathe, Lights Out, those two films last year really I enjoyed so much. And they ended up on my top 10 best films of the year. And let's say a film like Bye Bye Man, which I thought it looked stupid, and I was really saying to myself, I hope it ends up being a good film. I hope it breaks the barrier and I really enjoy it and I would want to buy it on Blu Ray one day. The Bye Bye Man's barely in there for 5 minutes, something like that, and the rest of it's just boring, not the best acting whatsoever. Like Lights Out had better acting, Don't Breathe had better acting. This is kind of the same comparison with this film. This is better acting, a more fun story, plus it has comedy. Well, did the Bye Bye Man have any comedy except maybe some stupid little comedy remarks here and there? Did it have a main character farting for 10 seconds? No. This is better, let me say. Enjoyable characters, but with all that, I think really the downfall, not even a full downfall, but I think more weaker scenes in a sense was just her kind of talking to the professor, the guy that she was having an affair with. Little stuff like that, nothing too bad, and they're kind of quick scenes. Which was really good about this film is the pacing. Like I said earlier, it doesn't feel like a long film. Each scene kind of goes really quick, or each scene's very, it's just easy to watch. It's not challenging or anything like that. And I'll tell you my pros and cons. With my pros, it's funny. The story is interesting. I do like Groundhog's Day type of films. It's entertaining, which is what you want out of film in the first place. It's silly, and it knows what it wants to be, and it knows what it is. The baby face mask was a very interesting design. I wonder if I'm going to see anybody out there on Halloween dressed like that. Probably not. Halloween's literally like in 2 weeks. Probably not going to see anybody dressed like that. Maybe in your city, maybe not. Bigger cities possibly. But I don't know. I think it'd be cool to see the baby face mask. Not like a full trend, but just a little nudge to this, man, for the big fans that enjoy this film. The jump scares again. The jump scares, you could tell they were coming. It wasn't something like, even Annabelle Creations. Annabelle Creations I ended up enjoying, but I would say I enjoy this more than Annabelle Creations. And I really enjoy Annabelle Creations. I enjoyed this film, in a sense, more than It, but there are two completely different films. I mean, the kid characters in there, the Losers Club was the best part of It. This, I think, again, you can't really compare it to It or Annabelle Creations, but I would still say this, as of now, just because of the comedy aspect and and Groundhog's story, that it was just more of a fun experience and not just all too serious. I think Annabelle Creations really had a slower pacing, and it was really predictable. Yet with this one, it wasn't predictable so much. I didn't know that nurse girl was the killer. I really didn't. I was thinking to myself, okay, so they're gonna have this killer. They're gonna have this killer be the guy. Okay, I guess I'll go with it until it doesn't make no more sense, which it started not to make sense. But then she ended up saying, "How did he get loose?" or something, and I thought to myself, so there's an accomplice. There's a second person to this. And then I guess near the end, when the nurse and the girl was holding the cupcake, then I was like, oh, okay, it's her. And then it ended up being her. Once she revealed, like, you poisoned the cupcake. Really should have just shoved it down her throat, honestly. With that, again, the jump scares, I enjoyed the jump scares for what they were. You could tell they were coming, but yet they still got me. They still got me. I think it's the loud sound in the theater, and I don't know. And also, after a jump scare, my friend ended up bumping into me real quick, just because he was moving, and he bumped into me, and I was like that. I was like, oh, calm down, sir. Calm down. Don't embarrass yourself here, man. You do not want to embarrass yourself in here. The characters, for the most part, each and every character, I think, had an interesting flavor on them, even, if they show up here, show up there. But really, Jessica Rothe is the person that carried the film, the main girl. And then how satisfying it was for her to finally break the spell, curse, or I don't know what it's called, because they never explained it. But it was satisfying to see her get revenge as well. I mean, they were having that whole storyline go where she gets weaker and weaker every time she dies, and I guess, well, that didn't end up, that story was out of the park after a while. They just kind of dropped that story. But again, I feel like I'm just going to repeat myself over and over. Entertaining film, really enjoyed it, didn't expect to enjoy it that much, and I'm really interested to see how this does at the box office. I'd like to know your thoughts. I would like to know what you guys thought about Happy Death Day. Did you hate it? Did you not like it? Do you think comedy ruined the film? Do you think, or you agree with me that it added to the film? Did you know that she was the killer? What do you really think about Happy Death Day? Is it one of your favorite films out of the year? Is it not? Now, I gave it an 8 out of 10. And surprisingly enough, I gave Blade Runner 2049 an 8 out of 10. And I know people probably think to themselves, oh, you gave this an 8 out of 10, but yet you gave Blade Runner an 8 out of 10. Why? And again, these are two different films. These are not every film, is The Revenant. Not every film is Argo. There are just regular films that are stupid, but they're so enjoyable. And again, this film wasn't bad to a point where it was like, this is atrocious, this is a waste of money, this is that. I mean, it depends. Really, really, really looking for just a fun time. Almost in the sense like Baby Driver, again, not trying to compare it to Baby Driver, but you were looking for a fun time. It's kind of like that, just a fun film to watch on the weekend, and it has its jump scares, it has its quite a bit of comedy, and it has its serious moments as well. So I do have to give my tip and hats off to the writers, and even though it really pissed me off that they didn't explain what happened, I don't know whether if they're saving that for a future movie or if they just they didn't even know themselves, or they're just going to let it be a mystery. And if it's going to be a mystery, I guess we could make up whatever we want it to be. Aliens that happen, and I don't know. But it'd be very interesting to see this franchise continue in the future, and I'd like to see where they head off next with Death Day 2.
So without further ado, I think that's about it for the spoiler review. We've kind of delved deep into little things here and there. I'm glad she ended up from becoming a bitch, a really just nice person, and standing up for like Becky at the table with the chocolate milk and pouring it all over the girl, and she really just stood up and she was happy, and she was, well, oh wait, no, and then she ended up dying, didn't she? She ended up dying from the cupcake that night. Oh well, she had her talk with her father and all that, and now she's just going to have to do it all over again. And I got emotional during that father scene. I guess it was because both of them started to cry, because they were saying, I miss her smile, I miss her smell, I miss the bathroom smell after she would come out, you know, just little stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, I do. I miss her. And they're just both crying, and they're holding each other's hand. And my friend saw me get teary, you know, my eyes were starting to get watery again. I don't know, so for some reason I just get more emotional nowadays. The littlest things, I'll just start to shed a tear. And I'm like, my God, I'm really rapidly pacing at my age, where I'm just starting to cry at every little single thing. Oh no, that roach died on the street. Oh God. Oh, God's creature. Who did this? You know, stuff like that. Like, who killed this ant? What the fuck, monsters? You savages! Stuff like that. But I'm as hard as a nail. That's what I am. I did not sound right. Hard as a nail. Not more like a plushy blanket at the moment. So yeah, that's kind of Happy Death Day. I think I've said all I needed to say, because other than that, it would just be repeating the same stuff over and over and over and over and over and over and over. That's kind of the whole point of the film, though, is just to repeat stuff over and over. As well, an interesting way with the Universal opening, where it kind of warped back in and then it looped again. I wanted them to do it 2 times again with the Blumhouse Productions, but maybe that would have been too many. So other than that, I really would like to see the actress Jessica Rothe continue in more films, and that this is definitely going to be on my top 10 best films out of the year, if not an honorable mention for sure. It's just a big surprise for me, and I had a chance to go see The Foreigner, and I ended up telling one of my friends, I was like, I'm just going to go see the shit film first, because I just want to get the shitty film out of the way. And then after that, I don't have contact with him right now, but I would just want to like tell him, dude, you should have come to the screening. It was really good. And maybe he would have thought it's bad, but again, don't walk into a theater and expect everything to be so serious. Why so serious? Don't get butthurt if there's a little comedy here and there, you know what I mean? Don't walk in thinking it's going to be an Oscar film. What are you expecting? I mean, maybe you're expecting a thriller film, but at the same time you get a little comedy film. So, hey, it's a win-win for everybody. You get to laugh, you get to, well, I cried, but I don't think many people will cry, but you get to cry, you get to get scared a little, you get to predict and blah, 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 blah. And overall, you get to experience this whole loop that this girl's having, and you get to see her change overall who she is as a person, and she gets to find love, and she's going to have his babies. His name is Carter, and I'm going to have his babies, if there's a tomorrow. Well, shit. Overall, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate this. And you guys watching. If you enjoyed, comment down below. Give me your feedback. Tell me what you thought about Happy Death Day. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I'd like to hear everything that you thought about Happy Death Day, and we'll continue the conversation down below. If I forgot anything or any conversation or topic, make sure to bring it down below, and we'll talk about it, or controversial or
theories and such of what could happen in the future. But I think if there's a sequel, there's kind of no need to bring Carter's character back and Rothe, her character back. There's no need to really bring them. I think their story's done, and if they do another one, they could always do another type of Groundhog style sort of story. So maybe the girl that was gonna poison the cupcake, maybe her mom or her friend, you know, they continue the story. I don't know. I have no idea, but we'll see how this does. Overall, if you enjoyed the film, tell your friends to go see the film. Tell your neighbor, hey, this is a really fun film, and definitely go check it out either in theaters or when it comes to Blu Ray or anything like that, man. If you can find it at even the cheapest price or the full price, I'd still say if you're just looking for a fun time, then this is your film. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. Till next time. Bye-bye.